But like, no, I feel like I'm like, there's so much to porn, you guys. Like, you have to take photos before and get your makeup done. No, but there's like a lot.
The downside to porn is the glam. I can't.
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Welcome back.
We're in Dewey Beach.
We're in Dewey Beach, hunched over one mic, back to our roots.
3 years ago, hunched over one mic.
How does it sound, guys? Can you tell? Can you tell this is the first 10 episodes, the one mic? All I need is one mic.
No, because remember my voice was so weird the whole first season of the show because I was sick the whole winter.
Yeah, and then you got new teeth.
I got a lisp and I stopped being sick all the time.
Okay.
Have you guys gotten your Florida tickets yet?
We wouldn't know. We've been asking for updates. They could be sold out at this point. Just check the website. We literally don't know.
Literally don't know.
That's Florida. Florida's like, fuck around and find out.
They're like, come or don't, whatever. Then maybe there'll be people here, maybe there won't. But we'll be in Florida.
We'll be in Florida in 3 weeks now. Miami, May 2nd. Tampa, May 5th. Orlando, May 6th. Get those tickets at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. If they're there, we wouldn't know.
We don't know. Ashley every day is like, do we have counts yet? I'm like, I don't know. She texted our agent. That's how things work. We don't know.
No, it's going to be amazing.
We think.
We'll be there. We will be there.
It's happening no matter what. If you guys come or you don't, we just know there will be a show. 2 shows.
6 shows. Night. Oh, 6 total. Anyway, get those tickets at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com.
Yes. And then all the other shows, as we told you guys, we will keep you posted on dates.
We're trying.
Okay. I was thinking about vaccinations and how we've gotten vaxxed, and I just have to tell you, I have been personally terrorized by our audience this week.
The meme.
There is a meme about getting vaxxed and waxed.
You're telling me.
Ashley.
You're telling me.
I am being terrorized by our audience.
So
I can't even get into my DMs. There's so many people who sent me it.
How's it feel? Anytime a Home Alone or croissant meme goes viral, I brace myself. So I got to tell you this. That meme, someone DM'd it to me. The meme is basically this guy tweeted, you guys have all seen it by this point. And he was like, this lady on a plane just said she's vaxxed and waxed and ready to get some action this weekend. This is the kind of energy we need this summer, yada, yada. It couldn't have been a more perfect storm because you had just said you got your first wax. I had just gotten vaxxed and people went crazy. So one of our listeners DM'd it to me before it went on Betches, right? So it was on some low-key account. I posted on my story. It got shared 700 times.
I saw it on your story and I was like, I can't believe she's doing this to me.
That was some rando meme account. And then it went on Betches and then it went ape shit. And my notifications were just people tagging you, but also Girls Gotta Eat. Ash, I was like, this is my mantra for life because I had just gotten my pussy waxed. Talking that I just walked in the door from my sugaring and someone sent me that meme and I was like, this is my bio for life.
Are we both vaxxed and waxed?
Vaxxed and waxed, baby.
So guys, I had my second wax of my life.
But it's so on brand for me too, because everybody knows that I tried to booty call a guy by saying that I just got my pussy waxed and a negative COVID test. So I've been out here vaccinating and waxing.
Vaccinating and waxing. You're the original you're the original waxed vaxxer.
Yes. There's nothing better. There's no better line.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm ever going to be vaxxed and waxed again because I was crawling up the walls. It was hard to take.
What?
I'm not tough enough to get waxed.
I got to tell you, I went maybe 3-4 days ago at this point, and I was thinking of you because it really is painful. And if I'm just so used to it, and every time I go, not every time, but a lot of the estheticians will be like, estheticians. I said ass so hard. Listen, when they wax your ass, that's what they're called. So they are always like, okay, deep breath. I'm like, I'm good. Your girl's been doing this.
You do it without the breath.
I ask to grip something. So I use a towel, and sometimes I've been to places where they have stress balls, which is great. But I don't need to do a bunch of Lamaze breathing. It hurts. And then once they get the first pussy lip out, then the rest is like easy breezy.
Oh my God, I'm uncomfortable just hearing about it.
But thinking about you, like not having done it, or you had one wax in your life and then you got sugared, I was like, how did Raina even do this?
I had the coolest girl. She was awesome. I told her it was like my first time, and she was each one, all 15 strips. She's like, deep breath in, huge breath out. And like, I was screaming. She's like, girl, I crawl up the walls when people do this to me. So anyways,
every week, that's what we talk about.
It feels great. It looks great. It got a lot of use.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about your trip?
Yeah.
Also, today we have Asa Akira on. She's a porn star. We are talking even more about buttholes and vaginas in this episode. It's all on brand today.
I feel like Asa would be so proud of me for what happened. So I went to LA to see a guy who's great. He's great. I don't have anything else to say about him. He's great. But we really used my waxed vag. And first of all, I went to LA to meet this guy, to see this guy. And my dad was like, I'm so glad that you have a date. Like, I wish you didn't have to like fly to the West Coast to get laid. I was like,
your dad did not say that.
Am I getting roasted by my 73-year-old dad?
I'm sorry. Your dad did not utter the words get laid.
Fly to the West Coast to get laid.
He didn't say that to you.
Yes, he did.
Did you hang up and block his number?
No, because you know what? He listened to the episode this summer where I was like, I like when it's disgusting. He has heard terrible things.
I just don't need to hear my dad talk about me getting laid.
Yeah, me either.
Oh my God.
I know. I can't believe he roasted me so hard too. And I was like, you're right. Listen, you're not wrong.
Did the girl who had DM'd him that you need to shoot your shot with Raina, has she figured this out yet?
Yes, she DM'd me and was like, oh my God.
I love it.
She's I'm never going to like say anybody's name that I'm dating. So like, she's the only person that knows.
God damn it, girl. I swear to God, we'll sue you Kardashian style. So I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not. You know what? I will go Khloe Kardashian on your ass so hard if you release this name.
First, we're not going to give a platform to that right now, but that was fucking nuts. Don't get me started.
I did get you started. We were at lunch at the Starbird, and Ashley was like, you know what, if you didn't have your whole diatribe in the car, that's what we were going to talk about.
Which, can't say it enough. She looked great. That's exactly what I thought Khloe Kardashian's body would look like in bad lighting. That's exactly what whatever.
She looked great. She looked 10 years younger. She looked amazing.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, you had a great time.
I had a great time. The trip was really wonderful, but I wanted to tell you I did something. It is probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. I gave 3 blowjobs to completion in 12 hours, Ashley. 12 hours.
I can't. We have a meme alert. We need a sound effect. Here's Raina. Raina, I just want to be kind of private about this. Also, Raina, I blew him 3 times to completion.
Listen, I'm being proud of who he is. We only had sex twice on Saturday, and then I got my period. And then he did something nice for me on Saturday night, and I was like, I'm not going to not thank him.
Yeah.
So I gave him a blowjob Saturday night, and then I gave him 2 blowjobs Sunday morning. To completion. I gave 2 blowjobs before brunch on Sunday.
What?
Yes.
Hold on. What? I just love an Oprah what. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Good for you.
I sucked a dick twice and we went to the farmer's market.
You love a farmer's market and to suck a dick. That sounds like a great day for you.
It was an amazing Sunday. So that's my greatest accomplishment. I told him I haven't sucked a dick to completion more than once in the last 8 years, and he like doesn't believe me.
Because you did such a good job.
Yeah, 3 times, 12 hours.
Oh my
Hit it out of the
God.
park. Yeah. So that's how my trip was. I'm back. It was great.
I mean, he must have a good dick.
He laid it down. I'm proud of him.
Okay.
The stuff that came out of his mouth is why I started sucking
Love
his
to
dick.
see it. We're planning a little girls trip with Kate Kennedy is like one of the people. Her and I just got to talking about going to visit another friend of ours, and it started because she had a dream about it. She had a dream that we went to go visit Grace Atwood in Charleston, and she texted me. She was like, I had this weird dream, and I was like, let's actually do that. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'll fire up the group chat. And I was like, hey, Grace, like, we want to come visit you. Do you have any blackout dates? We want to come to Charleston, and don't expect Raina to jump in on this. She's getting dick down in LA right now. And
then Ashley said, I speak for both of us.
And I said, I speak for both of us as a couple. And then Kate goes, it all started because I had a dream. And I go, damn it, I should have started this group chat with Kate had a dream. And Kate goes, it's okay. At least Dick Down made the lead copy. And I just like love her so much because she's so funny and like well-spoken. Like, I love the way she phrases things.
Well, that's your best friend. So I'm happy that your best friend is so funny. Your best friend, Kate. Do you even want me to come on this trip?
You get so jealous of her.
I don't like it when you have other friends.
Okay, so Raina got dicked down, and I have a story. This isn't as hot and sexy, but right now,
But I don't know about it.
We're in Dewey. My brother's getting married this weekend, like in a few days. So we'll talk about it on next week's episode. We actually have a wedding themed episode next week. So we're super excited about it. So we'll recap it more. But anyway, so we're here. So I drove here, and I drove here solo. You were coming back. You were on a red eye. You were like not going to join me. So I went solo. If you guys know, I have my 2003 Nissan Xterra in the city, and it should not be running. It's a classic, but I am going to keep driving it until the wheels fall off. I'm fully committed. So it has issues from time to time. It's like a 18-year-old car. So I'm not going to get into this whole story, but I had one of these issues arise as I was trying to leave the city to get to Delaware. The details aren't important. It's a long story, but it culminated in me sitting on my street, like in the East Village with my car packed up, ready to go, ready to get to Delaware. Car wouldn't start. I'm sitting there with the hood popped, waiting for someone to come help me for about 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even. And as I'm sitting there, hood popped, this like hot guy walks by and he's looking at me and he gets a little bit close to the car and he's like, hey, is everything okay? Like, can I help you? Which I was just like, oh, like chivalry's not dead, you know? And I start to try to like tell him, I was like, oh, my car died. I was trying to explain it, trying to be cute about it, whatever. And he was like, don't worry, it happened to me recently too. And I drive a 2020, like a newer car. And I'm thinking like, what kind of car?
He's roasting your car. He's like, don't feel bad that your car's so old.
And then I go, I mean, yeah, this is an 03. It's a classic. And we have a little bit of like banter. And then he was like, okay, we'll just make sure you were okay. And I was like, okay. And so right now I'm putting on a misconnection for that guy.
What does he look like?
It's hard to tell with the mask.
Okay, how tall is he? What's his body build like?
Probably like 6 foot.
Okay.
Cute guy from what I could tell.
What color hair?
Dark, like brown hair.
Did he have facial hair?
It's hard to tell.
Did he have an animal with him?
No animal.
Damn it. Okay, because this summer I put out a call for a Bradley Cooper lookalike that lives near Domino Park.
Yeah, so if you were walking around the East Village a week ago now at this point and saw a girl with her 2003 Xterra hood popped and had an interaction, just DM me.
And if you girls see a 6 foot tall man with brown hair and maybe some facial hair in New York City, because that's not everybody, just let Ashley know.
Ask him if his car is a 2020.
Oh, that is a good piece. Okay, do we know any other information about him?
That's all we got.
That's all. No. I'm trying to think.
You might not even be. I just want to, we had a moment.
No, I want to find him now. That would be the most meet cute thing in the entire world. The Xterra brought you together, you and the guy.
I know.
I will walk the streets of the East Village, look at this guy.
All right.
What else are we doing?
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
What if he
else
like pops up and then I'm like, oh.
What if he takes his mask
not
off?
interested.
What if you get
Yes,
mask
get mask
by him?
fished.
He wasn't wearing a hat too, was he?
I don't remember.
Mask
It all
fished
happened so
and hat
fast. And, normally I would have tried to like talk, flirt, but it was a mess. I was super stressed. My car's not working. I was like waiting on somebody. It was a whole thing. So missed opportunity. And that is my misconnection. And that's all I got. We will have more of a fun recap next week. I don't really have any recs. Do you have anything new?
Girl, you know I'm hitting the docs hard.
What, another doc?
Another doc. It's all, I'm trying to find something fictional that I can watch because it's actually getting embarrassing every time somebody's like, what are you watching? I'm really excited to start the show The Nevers on HBO.
Okay.
It's about, you might like it because it's Victorian, and I'll like it because it's magic. It's about these Victorian women that like get magical powers all of a sudden. These like 5 Victorian women.
And that's real.
It's real.
So that's happening right now.
That's in 2020. These Victorian women.
So people are doing this.
They're wearing bonnets in 2021, and they also get magic powers, and also it's real. I gotta tell you, I rewatched that video of you and me so many times last week.
People were like coming out of the woodwork like, this made my day. This is on our Instagram, by the way, if you guys are.
You asked such serious questions about this technology, and I really was like, why is she like hounding me so hard about this? The moment I pause and I just go, Ashley.
Yeah, everybody was like, when Raina said Ashley.
It's my favorite moment of the podcast.
Yeah, so if you guys missed this was a moment of the podcast last week, but we posted the video on our Instagram, so go check it out. It's a classic moment for us.
It's my favorite moment with you. It's almost as good as when you sent me the wine or when I admitted to you that it was zucchini bread instead of banana bread. Those are my 3 favorite moments.
What about Shej? Someone wrote, this moment of Ashley being wrong is second only to Shej.
Ashley's only wrong about food things, and apparently when I watch a fictional series. But anyways, check out The One. It's great. My jock rack. There's a documentary on Hulu about WeWork. It's really good.
I heard it's like a shitty place to work, right? They say it's like a nightmare.
They say it's a nightmare, but also it's just like WeWork. I mean, if you guys know anything about it, they were gonna do an initial, like they're gonna do an IPO. They were gonna go public, and then the reports they released basically let people know that they were like falsifying their profits and they weren't profitable at all, and the whole company basically like goes under. So they're gonna file for an IPO, and then basically they went from a $47 billion valued company to being valued at like nothing. Oh wow! And they ousted the CEO and the founder. So I thought it was really great. 2 hours long. Hulu. I mean, you know, Ashley and I stan Hulu so hard.
Yeah, but everything recently has been Netflix. I feel like Netflix is like on fire. Like they're unstoppable. I've been making a list in my phone of show recs that people are giving me and I've been hearing about.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Demi Lovato doc. I want to watch Demi Lovato's doc.
You're docking hard too?
I like a doc. And then Barb and Star.
Wait, what is this?
I don't know, but people keep sending me that there's a woman named Trish, and she's like real Trish.
Isn't it Kristen Stewart? Isn't it?
Girl, I know nothing about it except Trish. And Trish, y'all, has she even been in 2021?
She took a vacation.
Oh my God.
Took 2020 off.
But anyway, that's my two. I haven't mean to tell you this for months.
Years.
Do you know that I watch shows with captions now?
You already told me this.
Okay.
You told me that your brother does it.
But I didn't tell the listeners that I watch with captions now. It started for me with Bridgerton. I understand what they're saying in Bridgerton, but like I watched it. I was out of town. The volume was kind of low on the show and I just liked having the captions on. So I started with Bridgerton, and then I'll tell you what was a little hard for me was I May Destroy You on HBO. They're British and they use a lot of slang and they talk really fast. And I was like missing stuff. So it's very funny that I started watching shows with captions because of British.
No, it's
TVs.
not, because I started watching stuff with captions because of The Crown. I watched The Crown with captions. This is 100% exactly what I started doing.
And then you just get used to it. And then I'm like, I love having the captions on there. And you know what's I've only watched like an episode or two of this. I like it enough, but Dairy Girls, have you heard of this? It's like these Irish girls. It is hard to understand.
Actually, I have to tell you who introduced me to this.
Who?
My ex, the bodyguard. He was like, I got this show. The biggest man I've ever seen. The biggest, most serious, covered in tattoos. No one's ever looked more like a bodyguard in his life. He, 100%.
Guess who introduced me to it?
Who?
The firefighter.
No! What is going on? Ashley.
Why do these big, burly men love that show? I don't know anything about it. I've only seen like one episode.
It's about high school girls in Ireland. He like made me a coffee one morning, Saturday morning. I like fucked him. He made me a coffee. And then he was like, I want to watch this show on Netflix with you. And it's about Irish high school girls. And I was like, are you fucking with me? You have 2 full tattoo sleeves.
Yeah. The fireman was like, he's the one that told me about it. And when he told me about it, I was not watching shows with captions yet. And I was like, I can't understand this.
That is almost ununderstandable.
It's just, it's English, but it's a thick accent. Like I would assume that like if people from another country are watching like a show where there's a really hardcore like Southern accent, it might be a kind of hard to, I mean, it's just different like dialects.
Also, it takes me 5 seconds and then I start to understand.
Yeah, it takes you a minute to like calibrate your brain. But anyway, bottom line is I started watching these British shows with captions, and now I'm like, I watch strictly. I keep them on all the time.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm watching Summer House with captions.
No, you are not. Well, you bought.
No, I just don't turn
You
them
bought the
off.
whole season of Summer House, so
that's a whole other thing.
You need to commit to knowing every single word. I'm surprised you don't watch it 3 times. You bought the whole season.
Raina, people don't know what you're talking about.
Ashley bought the entire season of Summer House. She didn't realize YouTube TV came with all of the episodes of everything.
I didn't know that I had Bravo on my YouTube TV because I don't watch Bravo besides Summer House. So I bought the whole season on Amazon Prime. And so
does Hannah know?
I don't know if I told Hannah. Like, I have sunk money now into Summer House. I'm so committed.
I watched it. I bought 1 episode the other day. I gotta know what Hannah's up to.
I know. Okay, guys, those were our recs, sorta. I don't even know if we recommended
closed captioning. Can't recommend it enough.
Okay, it's time.
Okay, guys, we are so excited to welcome our guest today. She is a former professional dominatrix. She has starred in hundreds of adult films and even directed some. She has amassed millions of followers online and was the AVN Female Performer of the Year, which is like winning the Oscars of porn. She's become one of the top porn stars in the world for good reason. I've seen lots of her work. Please welcome to the show, Asa Akira.
Yay. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
I'm a huge fan.
Thank you for being here from bed. This is like very appropriate and on brand. You are in bed.
Yeah, that actually is really on brand, but ironically, I'm not like in bed doing any of the things you want me to be doing.
You're on bed rest. We have a porn star, but she's on pregnancy bed rest. It's not as sexy as you guys think.
And it's like fully in like beached whale position, like not, I'm not like legs in the air or anything. I'm like on my side.
Like when you pulled up in the Zoom, I was like, oh, she's being sexy for us. And little did I know, you're like, no, I'm just really fucking pregnant.
I thought that too. I was like, she's really like, she's committed to this brand.
Like, yeah, like my arm is under my head. I'm like, hey guys.
Yeah, I love this so much.
You look hot. And we were telling you are our third guest that's about to have a baby in 2 minutes. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
So hot. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Well, we're excited to have you today. We're going to talk to you about your background, how you got into porn. We asked our listeners some questions they had about porn. We got some funny stuff. And then obviously sex tips, blowjob tips, anal tips.
Always.
Well, let's talk about you. Where are you from? How did you talk about your professional career? How you got into it?
Yeah. So I'm from New York City and I moved out to LA when I was 23 to start a porn career. And I mean, I guess I haven't like, like being like locked in this pandemic for like a year, like I haven't done a lot of like press type stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know how to talk about myself anymore. But yeah, like you said, I used to be a dominatrix. I did that for a year. That was like my introduction to the adult entertainment industry, I guess. And then from there, I transitioned to stripping. And then from there, I got into porn. So yeah.
So when you say dominatrix, like in a professional way, or like that's what you were doing in your own time? Like
no. Yeah, like no, I don't mean like for fun or
but I guess no.
She's like, I went to work every day at Salesforce and I would come home and I'd be a dominatrix.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want to like, I guess I don't have a lot of knowledge. Like what is a professional dominatrix? What did that look like when you were doing it?
So for me, I mean, there's all different ways of doing it, right? But for me, that meant when I was 19 at the time, and I started working at a dungeon in New York City on 33rd Street called the Nutcracker Suite.
Okay.
And I was just like walking down the street one day and this like super shady looking guy came up to me. I was with my ex at the time. And he came up to me and he was like, hey, do you want to be in the adult entertainment industry? And I did.
Mm-hmm.
I had these dreams of like being in porn and like, I just like thought like hookers were so cool and like just any type of sex work I wanted to be involved in. But I was 19 and in New York, it's not like California where everyone knows someone in porn. So it felt like this very far away dream. And like this shady man just like walked right up to me and asked me, it was like an angel fell from the sky. And I was like, yes. And he was like, great, like follow me. You can come check, basically you can come check out my dungeon right now.
This could have gone one of two ways.
Totally. And I'm so lucky. I feel so fortunate and so stupid that I followed this guy. And, I was with my ex. So I had that like kind of like a layer of the guise of protection, even though like, I don't know that he was looking back, he was the type of dude that could have protected me. But like, yeah. So I followed him to the upstairs to the dungeon.
Oh my God.
And he was like, great, you can start training tomorrow. Training meant on him, actually. He was my submissive, I guess, in that scenario. And he just like kind of showed me, I didn't know anything about being a dominatrix, or I didn't even know, like, I was 19. Like, I didn't even know if I was like identified as submissive or dominant, or like, I didn't know anything about BDSM or sex work or anything. But I quickly learned. He showed me the ropes, and yeah. And I started work like 2 days later at the night shift.
In the dungeon.
Which is like, I think it started at like 11 p.m. and ended at 7 a.m. or something.
Oh my God. So I have a question for you, just in line with what you said. And I heard you on an interview years ago say the same thing, where you said that like you loved porn and you thought hookers were so cool. Like, do you remember like when you started thinking that, or how you decided I love this industry, I want to get into this no matter what?
I don't remember, like, there wasn't like a single aha moment, but I definitely always was super fascinated by sex, and like way more so than like my average peer. And like even like watching TV and stuff, I always felt like the slutty character was like so cool. Like,
Yeah.
like I remember like watching like Gia on Full House and like,
oh my God, that is the deepest cut. I'm obsessed with you that you said that. Gia, like I was like, I want to be Gia. What, can we get more Gia? She was only in like 3 episodes.
She was only in like 3 episodes and she was like smoking in the bathroom and her like flannel was like tied around her waist.
Yes. I started wearing a flannel around my waist.
Yes. It was like, for some reason that was like so slutty back then. But like obviously like now Gia is like not even like in the realm of like a bad girl.
Right.
But back then, yeah, like that spoke to me. And so I don't know, like I don't know where it started. I really, really don't. But like I remember even like being like 6 years old and like asking my parents to like read me all these books about like how babies are made. And like I've been masturbating for like as long as I can think of. I think I'm just like really drawn to sex and I'm just like a really horny person and I can't explain it past that.
It's like you just lived your truth. Like it's just like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but you were called to work in sex and you did. Like you didn't ignore it. You weren't like, I'm ashamed. Like you were like, no, I'm going to be an award-winning porn star. Like, duh. This is what I was born to do.
Were your parents like, so she said like you weren't ashamed. Like, did you grow up in like a sex positive environment or anything like that?
Not at all. No, not at all. Like my parents are, I don't want to say like they shamed me for my sexuality or maybe a little bit. Like actually it was not a sex positive household. Like I'm pretty sure my mom has only fucked my dad like once.
Yeah.
One
time, and they had you. Yeah.
Even now when I watch a movie with my parents and like people are making out, it's so uncomfortable. Like,
so not your movies. You aren't sitting down with mom and dad.
No. And not even like I wouldn't even want to watch like Cruel Intentions with my parents. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I know. So like we didn't talk about sex. So even like me, when I told you, like I was asking them to read me these like books about sex and like about how babies are made, it made them like super uncomfortable. So, you know, that's something I think about so much. And it's something I'm like still working on to this day is like working on like all this shame surrounding sex. Like even now after I masturbate and I come, like I have these like 15 seconds where I feel like super shameful and guilty. And it's so weird, but like, yeah, like, I don't know, like there's like a lot of stuff that I think it's so harmful. Like, why do we do that? Like everyone's horny, everyone's sexual. It's how we get here. Like, why should it be this thing we're like embarrassed about or ashamed about?
I don't know. We talk about this all the time. Like what exactly is it? Like you're alone in the privacy of your own home. You know, like we feel like some people just, obviously it was the way they were raised and they feel like they're weird or they're like a freak for liking something that turns them on or that they're masturbating to. But we don't have the answer. Like it's fucked. But yeah, I mean, thanks for admitting that. It probably is like helpful to hear you say that to the average person that doesn't work in sex.
I feel like just now, like women are allowed to be like, yeah, we masturbate, like we have sex toys and stuff. But like, I feel like even 5 years ago, like it wasn't like we grew up and like girls were like sitting around being like, oh, you masturbate? I masturbate too. Like, it's not like dudes can, you know, like we're not like in a circle jerk.
I said that recently, how like, we weren't showing off our vibrators on Instagram 5 years ago. You know what I mean? And now you're seeing girls they're doing ads for vibrator companies and they're like really showing off like, hey, I just masturbated. Like I was hosting sex toy parties years and years ago, like for fun, but like, you know, privately, but I wasn't blasting it on the internet. And I think it's so refreshing that you see a girl holding up her vibrator on Instagram because you're totally right. Even 5 years ago, I think that was a little taboo for the average person.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I started masturbating like pretty young. Like I discovered this maybe like 11 or 12. I was masturbating and I never told another person that I knew how to do this like crazy trick until I was like maybe halfway through college. I certainly wouldn't have talked about it. You would be surprised how many messages we get from girls saying, you know, I bought my first sex toy because of you guys. I was like touching myself. I had my first orgasm and I'm so like excited that like we can do that. But yeah, it's much more normalized. I put up an Instagram story the other day where I was like in a dark shower with a candle lit at like 3:00 in the afternoon. somebody responded like, tell me you're masturbating without telling me you're masturbating. And I like reposted that. I was like, fuck yes, I am.
Yeah.
Well, let's like get into some of this. You know, we want to do like ask you a few general porn questions that people want to know. We're not trying to have a TED talk about porn. We want to talk more about like sex stuff, but I think there's just some burning questions that people have.
Oh yeah. The number one question, like far and above for you, was how much of what you do is acting versus actually enjoyable? Like, are you having a good time on set?
Me, yes, I'm having a good time. I think I don't want to like speak for all porn stars because I think like the porn experience can be like really different for everyone, right? Like, and I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with just doing porn for money, like strictly for money. You're not there to have a good time. I think that's like a valid experience too, and there's no shame to that. But for me, like I definitely got into porn because I love sex. Like I love learning about sex and having different kinds of sex. And like porn is like, you get to do that in like a safe environment with people who are tested and they're pros. They know what they're doing. So for me, like I see porn as like kind of like an extension of just my sex life. And to me, like the fact that there's cameras there and like people watching me, like that's like part of the whole experience. Like I like that. It's not like I'm having sex and, you know, despite there being cameras, I can have a good time. It's like because there's cameras there, like I'm having an even better time. Like that's
I feel like she's selling me on porn. Like I feel like I want to get in. I feel like the whole way she just described it was like, what a dream job.
I don't even need to get paid, honestly, for what you're describing. I'm just going to ask people to come over. I'll pay them.
I love the way you described your job. I get to do this in a safe environment where people are tested, and I love being on camera. Like, you know that quote that's like, dance like no one's watching. It's like, I'm dancing like, no, like
suck dick like no one else.
No, like I felt like dance like everyone's watching. That's how I dance. When I'm dancing like I'm in a music video, not that I'm alone acting like a flailing freak. Like I'm always like, yes, shouldn't you be having sex like there's cameras on you all the time?
It turns me on. I love that you said this.
Sorry, I cut you off, but I just got really inspired.
Exactly the same. And yeah, you're right. This is like, I'm like, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, like that's how I feel about porn. Like I mean, obviously I do it for money, you know, like this is a job to me, but also like I would do it for a lot less money. I would do it as a hobby. So it earn an option to
love
live off of it.
It's like love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. Like you were.
I mean, no, there's definitely like work aspects to it. Like there's so much to porn that's like not just shooting porn, like taking photos.
Yeah.
But like, no, I feel like I'm like, there's so much to porn, you guys. Like you have to take photos before and get your makeup done. No, but there's like a lot.
The downside to porn is the glam. I can't.
No, but like also, I mean, doing porn is like, it's really so much of it is an everyday job. Like, for example, like and most other jobs, like I don't have to give a fuck about like working out, my diet, what I look like, doing all the upkeep, which is like very expensive on like Botox and fillers and hair and like, you know, all this stuff. And then like there's a lot of like travel involved because we only shoot in California. And then we have to do events. And like now that there's, you know, Corona, it's different, but like we used to feature dance and tour strip clubs and like to keep your name out there. And there is a lot of stuff that goes into porn that's like not the actual shooting of porn.
Right.
Which is like, there's a lot of parts that I'm like, oh, okay, like this feels like work.
A job. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is a job.
Yeah.
You know, going to Las Vegas conventions and promoting yourself.
Yeah. Like keeping your name out there. It's just, I think it's being an artist of any kind. Like what keeps you relevant over all the other people that are singing or dancing or having sex for money. Like, you know what I mean? This is such a cliche question to ask, but everybody wants to know about orgasms on screen. Like, are they real? Are they sometimes real? Are they not? Like,
I totally thought you were going to ask if dick size matters. Because like, that's, to me, that's like the number one question.
Okay, well, we'll go to that next.
We'll start with the orgasms. I mean, yeah, for me, again, like I don't want to speak for everyone. For me, like I come really easily and it's just always been that way. Like if I kind of just like put my mind in a certain like mindset, like I can, and like squeeze my pussy in a certain way, like I can come. And also like, you know, like I said before, like the fact that I'm on a porn set, like that's the part that really turns me on. So like that gets me going, like mentally, like I'm very stimulated in that way. So for me, like, no, not all the orgasms are real. I would say most of them are, but there are definitely times where like the director is like, all right, let's wrap things up. Like, let's just like do a quick orgasm and then we'll like pan out. In those instances, I will try to like force a real orgasm. But it doesn't always work out that way. So I think, I don't know. I feel like we all fake orgasms for one reason or another sometimes.
Sometimes
like,
it's for work.
Yeah. And I mean,
it's for money.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, also these are like professionals at sex. Of course, it's going to feel good a lot of the times. You're turned on because everyone's watching, because you're sucking dick like everyone's watching.
Yeah.
So of course the orgasms are real. I was surprised so many people asked, because I was like, yeah, of course she has real orgasms sometimes. But I'm glad you explained it.
Like, that maybe this is like me totally projecting or like some kind of weird shit I'm carrying from childhood. But like, I feel like when people ask that question, they want me to be like, I'm not having a real orgasm. Like, I don't know why I feel that way, but I think they want me to be like, every single one is fake. I hate this job.
So they can tell tell their boyfriends, like, you know, it's fake, right?
Somebody asked
next time they walk into their man watching a porn with you in it, they can be like, you know, she fakes it because I heard it on Girls Gotta Eat. So I think it's just like, it pisses people off that you're having such a good time.
Maybe I think there's a lot of that. Like when it comes to like slut shaming, I think there is, again, maybe like I'm just like being an asshole about it, but like I'm like, you're jealous that you can't be a slut.
That's the title of the episode.
Somebody framed it a different way, a little bit nicer. She said, is she faking it every time? Like I have to, basically. Aww. And she meant like, you know, well, because I think that like some women are like, I've never had an orgasm with a man. I can't get outside of my head and enjoy it, or with a female. You know, I've never had an orgasm with another person. I can't get out of my head. How is this easy for other people? And it's like, well, this is my job. I chose this life.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have chosen this job if orgasms didn't come to me easily. But yeah, right. Like I think that's such a real thing that like, I mean, what woman hasn't done a fake orgasm for like the sake of a man's ego? Like
or not even that, just because you want it to be over. Yeah. Like I'm ready for this to be done. I'm hungry. So can you tell us like where you go in your head, or is it a kind of a specific place? Is it like a more like feeling yourself vibe?
Yeah, like it's not, I wouldn't say like I'm going to like a happy place. It's more like, it's mostly about squeezing my pussy. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like there's something about that. And then like, I don't know. I feel like my therapist always asks me this question of like, where in your body do you feel it? Like when I'm mad or like sad or something. And I can never answer this question. I'm always like, I don't know, but that's what I feel like right now.
It sounds like you're present. Like that's I think like somebody asked, like, do you zone out? Or are you present? It sounds like you're present for the experience.
I think maybe I try to make myself even more present.
Well, we all have something that we do. I think most women, when we're masturbating or we're having sex, that we know will like get us there. I don't know how to put it into words. Not because I'm ashamed, but I think even like, you know, sometimes you're having sex with somebody and you're like, if they could just say this thing or do this thing, like it would be game over. And sometimes you don't want to ask for it because it's like crazy. It's like, okay, like choke me a little, smack my ass, and then like tell me you want me to come so hard. All at the same time though, make sure you get it right. Like it's kind of like
do it perfectly.
They actually would do it perfectly.
Tone and cadence. Ashley's like, it's all about the cadence for me.
Yeah, I'm like,
rhythm of your voice, okay?
To me, like one of the coolest things about porn that it's done for me personally and like for my personal sex life is like I'm so comfortable asking for what I want from a partner now, because like it's just I'm so jaded about it. Like I mean, for sure when I first got into porn, like I would not like dare correct a man on how he was eating my pussy. Like to me, like just the thought of that was so uncomfortable that I would rather have a bad time or like just rather like get it over with and then like move to the fucking or something. But like, because, you know, like when you're doing it day in, day out, and then like you just have to talk about these things when it's your job, and like you're put in a position where you have to talk about it. I've become so jaded that now, like, if I'm like fucking my husband, like I completely just tell him exactly what I need him to say to me in those moments. And it is disgusting. You're right. Like, But like, so when I'm with a partner, like I don't think a single thought, but when I'm masturbating, I definitely have those go-tos. Like I definitely have scenarios that I'm like, I know this will get me off.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'll feel disgusting about it after, but like in that moment, I don't care. I'm just
right. You're like,
you know, what's one of those things for me is it sounds really weird, but like, I love when somebody like pulls my underwear to the side and fucks me. And it's like hard when there's a guy on top of me ripping your clothing off to be like, leave these on. It's going to turn me on.
No, I don't think it is. I think if you said like, leave them on, it's hot. Like, I think that like the first time we talked about on this podcast of like getting fucked in a bodysuit and like, just pull it to the side. People were like so turned on by that. So I think it's like guys just don't know. I think that they love to be told. I mean, I think guys with a huge ego don't, like they feel emasculated, but like the right guys that we should want to fuck really appreciate some direction.
Right. And the way that you framed it is perfect, that you would like rather have a bad time than tell somebody what to do. And it's like, pick your adventure, but that sounds bad to me.
Choose your own adventure.
Okay. So you said dick size. So like while we're here, I want to hear your dick size overview.
For me, like,
your thesis.
This sounds like so cliche, and I feel like it. I think this sounds like I almost like hate answering this question just because it sounds like such a beauty pageant answer to me.
You brought it up,
but I brought it up. Yeah, you're right, and I put myself here. But like, no, I truly feel like I truly feel like if it's not too small and not too big, everything else in the middle is like. Like at that point, it just depends on like who you are as a person, how you're fucking me, how much you're listening to me, how much how intuitive you are, like to like how I'm feeling, how well you can fuck my mind. Like it's like all the other things. Like the only time like I'm like, ooh, a big dick is really hot is like if I'm sucking on it. Then I'm like super turned on by like a huge dick. Like I just think it's the visual of it is hot. Maybe I'm brainwashed by porn, but like I just think that's like it looks hot and that turns me on.
Me too.
But like if I can't see it and it's in my vagina, I'm like I have no idea how big it is. Like
I think you're so right. I feel like there's almost like a immature quality of saying that like the number one thing you need in bed is a certain size dick. It's like, that's actually not how it works. Like women that actually have a lot of sex and like are good at sex and know about sex, that's not the thing they would name as the top thing. Like gotta be 9 inches. Like that's actually, that sounds like you're a virgin that you don't know what you're actually talking about. Like
totally. It's like the thing we're supposed to say.
And no offense to virgins, clearly. It sounds like,
it's just, that's the narrative. And honestly, Ash and I are probably, as long as it's not so big that I can taste it while you're fucking me, or it's so small that I can't even feel it, I'll take anything in the middle. And I've had all kinds of sizes. And to me, all that matters is what are you saying to me in bed? How much are you focusing on my pleasure? You know, is this like reciprocal? That's all I care about.
How is your body moving? Like nobody wants to be jackhammered and no one wants to feel like you're in slow-mo, you know? So I feel like that's part of it too. But
totally. It's way more skill than anything else.
Well, I think this is like a good segue into a sex question that somebody asked, because we were talking about like asking for things you want in bed. And this girl said, how do I get comfortable with dirty talk and be louder? I want to, but I'm always so quiet. And like, it seems like you have trained yourself to be good at asking for what you want and then maybe like talking a little bit dirty. So do you have some tips for that?
Or has it always come naturally?
No, it hasn't. And I'm actually like specifically thinking about like when I first started porn, they want you to be, you know, obviously very vocal and performative in porn because like you're making a product for people to masturbate to. Like, you know, if you're just dead quiet, then like people can't always tell that you're having a good time.
Right.
Not that there's not like room for that kind of porn too, but like that's just like not usually what they want.
Yeah.
I've always been like a really loud moaner and stuff, but dirty talk has not always come very naturally to me, but I love it done to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually my advice for stuff like that is like fake it till you make it, like, which is what I did. And now it comes so naturally. And now it's very, very easy. But in the beginning, I wasn't comfortable doing it at all. And you know what? That's probably like the worst advice, because I'm sure the correct advice is like, only do what you're comfortable with.
Well, there's no correct advice, but I actually think I'm going to pull a piece of advice from what you just said. I think if you're like a quiet person in the bedroom, start with just elevating your noises. Cause like, I feel like if you're really quiet and you're like, I'm really nervous and I don't want anything coming out of my mouth at a loud volume, like dirty talk isn't the starting spot. Like that's kind of like 0 to 100 too quickly. So just start moaning louder, start like saying yes louder, or just like what noises feel natural to you, kind of take them up a notch before you start to form words. If you're like starting at ground zero, dead quiet, like noises are hot. And if you're like, don't know how to say something dirty, then start with noises, I guess, and just like get them a little bit louder.
That's great advice. Yeah.
I just, from you saying you're a loud moaner, I'm like, oh, well, let's start there. Let's just start loud moaning before we move into like, I want you to come all over my face, you know?
I think this is very real. I think that I honestly, I think a lot of people probably feel a lot of comfort with you saying that it took you a while. You know, what's really weird. I'm thinking about all my favorite dirty talk lines. They're actually from a man. They're not from my mouth. Like there's lines that I wish somebody would say to me, like telling me that I'm a dirty little slut, or honestly just like calling me a good little girl. I mean, really anything in that range, asking me whose pussy this is, things like that. But all of my favorite dirty lines are said to me. They're not me saying the word.
Yeah, that's so true.
I mean, yeah, that's like exactly what I mean, where like I love it being done to me. Like I could come just from dirty talk.
Same.
Yeah.
But I think like women in general, like women's sounds are so hot and sexy. Like is so much sexier than a man grunting. So I think if I'm being turned on audibly, it's a woman's sounds and a man's words, because women's like pleasure sounds are so sexy to me, and I think to a lot of men.
I think like we get caught up in our head a lot about like, are we going to say the wrong thing? Are we going to actually end up saying something that turns them off? Do these words sound natural coming out of my mouth? And like, I will say, like, once a dude has like a boner, like you could fucking say anything. And like, you could completely say the wrong thing and he's not going to give a shit, because guess what? Like he's like he already has boner brain. Like anything you say will be fine.
Right. What guy has ever had beers with his friends, like after fucking some girl and is like, dude, you'll never believe what she said to me. He's such a weirdo. Like they're never saying that.
Or like, oh dude, you'll never believe she said nothing to me. It was so crazy. Like, you're so right. Just moan, act like you're into it. You don't need to start with like, fill me up with your cum and I want you to like fill my cunt up, which I will say, honestly, when I masturbate, I just think about me saying that, but
yeah, like just watch Asa on film and like mimic her sounds to start. This is like a whole like handbook journey. So start with noises. Should we talk about some blowjob tips?
Yes.
We don't. Yeah, I mean, you have the floor.
People want blowjob tips. You have the floor. People want blowjob tips, deep throating tips. I was wondering about humming on a dick. You just tell us how to suck a dick like a champion. It's my favorite hobby.
I'm not like one of those people who's so good at deep throating that it's like my thing. But I think like the way to give the best blowjob is to like be really enthusiastic about it. And that's exactly how I feel about like when someone's going down on me, is like, if they're into it, to me, that's super hot. So like anything that like shows that you're into it, I think is great. Actually I have one very, very real blowjob tip.
Okay.
The way I like to start a blowjob, once you're like done with like all the teasing the dick and like licking it and all that like stupid shit, just like jam it down your throat as far as it will go. And because it will collect that kind of like thick spit. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like the spit that you can only get in the back of your throat. But I think that spit is like really the key to a good blowjob, because it doesn't dry out. It doesn't, it stays like really slimy. And I think it feels like really good. So I think when you start off with that spit, it makes the rest of the blowjob go like very smoothly.
So like gag yourself a little. I'm not being funny, but like, people are so scared, I think, to gag, but I think most guys want to know that. Like, right? I don't want to gag because I'm like, what if I throw up? But I think guys like to think that you choked on their dick.
I think so too. Like from like an ego standpoint.
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah, she choked on my dick, bro. Like they want to say that.
Totally. And like, again, I think it's like one of those things, once a dude has a boner, it's like, he's not going to get turned off by something like that.
I have a question about blowjobs. It's probably one size fits one, but how do you feel about the volume of wetness and spit? How much spit are you getting on the dick?
I like a lot. Like, to me, that I think it's hot when there's like a lot of spit. And I find that in most scenarios, like I feel like dudes have really enjoyed like a sloppy, slimy, spitty blowjob.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, like there's definitely dudes out there that are like, I don't really like spit.
Weirdos.
So, I don't know. I guess it's weirdos. I guess it's different for everyone. But in general, like I like to get like that really thick spit going in the beginning.
And do you have like standard hand placement? Like, are you getting both on there? Is one doing something else? Like, what are your hands doing? Or do you mix it up?
Like, from what I've noticed, I think one hand probably feels the best. I think two strokes their ego if you can get two on it.
Right. Sometimes the two won't even fit.
Yeah. My dick's so big, actually.
Yeah. But then sometimes, I mean, you can like cup the balls or do other stuff with your free hand. I mean, I remember the first time watching the Kim Kardashian sex tape, like I think it starts with a blowjob and both of her hands were on his dick. And then there was space between it was the biggest dick I've ever seen. It was like both hands, space between the hands and her mouth. I was like, how much more shit can go on this dick? Like, it's like a roller. It was like a foot-long roller.
Those napkin cuffs. Just, how much more stuff can we get on the dick?
Right. Like there could have been a third hand. Like Chloe could have come and like put her hand on it too.
How much? I mean, honestly, for me, as long as you're like twisting the hand and there's good hand-mouth coordination, I think that you're going to suck a dick relatively well. But are you also throwing a hand on the ball sack or up a beehole?
So I used to like just slip a finger in his asshole because like most guys I've fingered their asshole have not disliked it.
Right.
But also like, obviously like as I grow older, I learn more about consent and like these things. And I'm like, maybe perhaps like it's not like the best idea to just be like fingering a dude's asshole, like without, any type of green light.
You just go for it.
I know.
Yeah. So, it's definitely like, I think about that now, but like, I will say like licking a guy's asshole, I've definitely never had a negative reaction from that.
Okay.
Right.
But then again, like it's so hard with like giving advice and stuff because it's like, well, you got to be careful of E. coli. Make sure he like washed his asshole and like,
yeah. And now you got to make sure they're vaccinated.
Like, a lot of guys are gross thing. And they like don't wash their asshole.
Right. I am an out of the shower only butthole liquor. I'm honestly like, I want to be more freaky with my fingers during a blowjob because I love blowjobs, but the dirty warmth of someone's inner asshole stresses me out a little bit.
I know.
In my mind, like sitting here, just like talking, like obviously I'm not, there's no penis in me or anything, but like, I feel like, no, you shouldn't just lick anyone's asshole. But like once I'm like in it, I'll lick anyone's asshole. Like I'm so like much grosser once I'm like turned on.
100%. Like that's what we always say. Like the second you get a little juiced up, you turn into a different person. Like like I don't even, when I think about what I say during sex, like if I think about it when I'm just sitting on the couch, not turned on, I'm like, who was she? I don't know. Like you really, you turn into a different version. I mean, in a good way. But yeah, we're sitting here being like, I would never do that. And then 1 second of getting like a little wet down there, we're like, let me eat your asshole if it's going to turn you on.
It's so true. And it goes in every direction. Like I'll also say things like, I love you when I'm like, I don't.
That's Raina.
Asa, 2 times in one summer, I told 2 different guys I loved them during sex.
It happens. Yeah. I don't know why. Why does that happen? It's just like, it's kind of a turn on.
I think in my mind, I'm barreling towards I love your cock, but like I love you
get tripped
by accident. And I just never acknowledge it ever again. I don't know who that bitch was. She just showed up. She was sober. She was dick down. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
If there's like one thing I want people to know, it's to like, don't ever talk to me about the things I said when we were fucking.
100%.
Have some manners.
I've like walked home from someone's place and I like shudder to think of what just went down in there. Like, I'm like, I don't even know. Like that was a first date. Why was I I was like, I told that guy to choke me. It was a first date. We met 3 hours prior. Like I have to like forget it. I'm like, I don't want to ever think about that again.
Ew, it's like when somebody tells you what you said when you were drunk. You're like, I don't
Why
know
did I
that
tell you to
bitch.
get me pregnant?
Put a baby in me. If you think I haven't said that, it's like telling you what I said when I was blacked out. I don't know that bitch. I don't want to hear what she said.
Meanwhile, you're like on birth control and can't even get pregnant.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they've heard us do a whole episode about not wanting children, and they're like, "What, Ashley? What?" I'm like, "Put a baby in me."
It's so true. I don't know why we do that. I guess we get boner brain too.
100%.
It's like being drunk. I mean, if you want to like get like really scientific, your brain is flooded with dopamine and serotonin, and that shit fucks you up.
Yeah.
How people are like, the truth comes out when you're drunk. No, it doesn't. If I'm ever going to say put a baby in me, that's a goddamn lie. And we all know it. So don't come to me with that, like a horny girl's words are true. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Being drunk is different. You know that your hippocampus is flooded with alcohol. I'll talk to you about the brain. Sorry. It's not
and you're trying to like, if you're, a good sexual partner, you're trying to please that person. So you're kind of working off of this, like, what can I say? What can I do to turn them on too? So it's whatever that feels right in that moment.
Yeah. You know what? That's so true. Cause like part of that high or like part of that drunkenness or that drug or whatever it is like trying to maintain that chemistry, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like you don't want him to like lose his
between
boner.
the two of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should talk about butt stuff.
Yeah. I mean, do you specialize in anal? You love anal?
I do. I love butt stuff. And it's funny, like there was definitely a period of time. The first time I had butt sex in my life, it went terribly. Like it was an accident.
Was this guy approached you on the street and was like, come to my
dungeon.
Come to my upstairs dungeon.
And then he put it in my ass. Actually, weirdly enough, it was with my husband now.
Oh, okay.
He also did when I was a kid. I shouldn't say a kid, when I was younger. But he was fucking me from behind. It was like really sweaty and like we were just like fucking. And then he took it out and just like slammed a little part of his dick into my asshole. And it was the worst pain I had ever felt. And I was like, I can't understand why anyone would ever want to do this. This is not fun. And by the way, I believe him that it was an accident. Like he's like not the type of dude that would do that.
He's marriage material.
Yeah, exactly. He's not like me fingering every butthole out there with no consent.
When you were telling that story, I'd like start taking deep breaths. Like I could like feel, because I think we've all felt that
been there.
Accidental. Yeah.
And so like I for a long time I was like, anal's just not for me. And then I actually got into porn and I started dating this guy who loved being pegged. So meaning like he loved when I would fuck his ass, whether with a strap on or a dildo or whatever. And so like just seeing him enjoying it so much, I was kind of like, like maybe it's time to revisit that. And he was actually the perfect person to have anal or start my anal journey with, because he had been fucked in the ass and like he knew, like the right way to do it and how to like avoid a lot of pain and how to like go slow and all that. So he was like the perfect person to introduce me to anal that way. And then like once you're used to it, it's so easy. Like it.
So this is like the most amateur anal question ever, but is it regular? I mean, I guess in work and with your husband, like people that do anal and really like it, are they doing it a lot, like as much as regular sex, or is it still like a only on twice a week kind of thing? Like,
I mean, everyone's different. Like I know girls that have anal sex every time they have sex. Like I know a handful of women that only come from their asshole. So they're pretty much having anal sex every time they have sex. I'm not like that. For me, like in my personal life, it's definitely still like I wouldn't say it's like a special occasion thing at all, but it's not even close to every single time. I would say like 1 out of like 15 times I have sex. If that actually, maybe more like 1 out of 20. Cause like for me also like anal sex like requires prep and stuff for me anyway. I know not everyone, but like I like to douche out my asshole and make sure I'm going to be clean. And like, I'm not at the level where I can be like, just ram it in my asshole whenever and I'm ready to go. Like I'm like, I had Chipotle.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned like that it wasn't as comfortable for you in the beginning. Do you have tips for like if somebody's not used to that? I mean, obviously lube, but like how do you get into it sexually a little bit more?
I have a lot of tips actually. I think positioning is like really, really, really crucial in the beginning. those first few times you have anal sex, like I think the receiver should be in full control. So like whether I think a great position is spoon to start in.
Okay.
Just because he can just lay there and you can push back on it. I think it's really important that the person giving it is completely still in the beginning and doesn't get like carried away and start moving, because that's when things get scary and then like you're out of control. And like it's so important to be in full control of all the movement in the beginning, in my opinion.
Okay.
I also think like what really worked for me is like just doing it a lot in the beginning, just to like gain that muscle memory or whatever that is. Like just have anal sex like 20 times in a month. And then you're like good to go for life.
It's like boot camp. Yeah.
It's like boot camp. Exactly.
It's like stretching out a shoe.
It's exactly like stretching out a shoe.
Oh my God.
It's also a good idea to, I think, use toys
to start, like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I think, you know, that way you are in full control and like, you know, like what to expect. Like I think a lot of times when you first start having anal sex, it doesn't feel like really how you think it might. Like a lot of people will describe it as like taking a shit in reverse. And like, yeah, I can kind of understand what they mean. So it is like a foreign feeling that like maybe it's easiest to get used to on your own. But also like for me, like mentally, like what turns me on is like someone doing it, right? So like for me, like I didn't really go the toy route.
Yeah. And then people asked about asshole bleaching. I mean, I know a little bit, but I haven't dabbled, but I know like how it's done, I guess. I think I do, at least. Do you do that regularly? Is that important to you? Okay.
I don't do that. And I definitely understand the appeal, because like once in a while I will see a girl whose asshole is like the same color of her ass cheeks. And I'm just like, God, that looks gorgeous.
Guys, I don't want to like toot my own horn.
My asshole isn't like that. My asshole.
That's what mine looks like.
Really?
Yeah.
You're one of the lucky ones.
You don't have a brown eye.
Tons of stuff is wrong with me, but brown eye's not one of them.
Well, mine's brown. And like, I mean, now that I've done porn for like 12 years, like I'm just kind of like, oh, this is what assholes look like most of the time.
Okay.
But I think another great thing that porn has given me is just like, I really truly do feel like no matter what you look like in any area of your body, there's going to be someone who's into it and then there's going to be someone who's not. And to me, that's very comforting. Like it takes away a lot of like self-consciousness for me. Just knowing that like I'm never going to be everyone's flavor, but there's also always going to be someone jerking off to me.
100%. With anything, you can, if you're doing something right in life, you could never please everybody. You
never, including bleaching your asshole.
Right.
So that being said, over a decade ago, I did try like my dermatologist from back then gave me like a cream to put on at home. So it wasn't like one of those situations where you like go someplace and they bleach it for you. They just sent me home with a cream and I was supposed to use it for like 2 weeks every day. I don't know. It was just like way too involved for me. So I did it like twice and then didn't touch it again.
Yeah, my bikini waxer in Atlanta, they may still do it, but I just asked her how they did it. And she said, we literally just massage bleach into like the area till it's bleached. But I feel like maybe what you're saying, I feel like I know too much. I think there's like a hydroquinone type of cream that's like a lightening, and you could probably do that over time and it would like lighten the area.
You're like, I don't know, just, you know.
Actually, I'm not a doctor, but I am.
Anyway, but that's like the lightening chemical to get back in there. We need to stop talking about this.
I think
I know too much.
I think this is very comforting to a lot of people because a few people just said like, how do I be more confident? It's like, you just have to tell yourself that some people are going to be into you and some aren't. And you know, the person whose hard dick is near you right now is probably into you. So you should feel confident.
Yeah,
totally.
And just, I mean, for people that have never had a wax or a sugaring treatment or whatever, like just for reference, the asshole hurts the least when you're back there. It's like the best part. So some people don't know that. They think of like, okay, well, I want to start with just hair removal. And they're like, it's going to hurt so much in my ass crack. It's like, you are in for a treat. I love the way that feels, especially when they've yanked every other hair out of the front and they're like, are you ready for the back? I'm like, fuck yes, get back there.
You're like, let's be there all day. No, it's the best part of it. I love that part of it.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't know. It's been so long since I've been waxed. I don't even remember like what that feels like.
Are you?
I shave.
You You shave?
Mm-hmm.
Asa Akira just shaves her pussy.
Yeah, I just shave. I've always found that like the thing I don't like about waxing is like you have to wait for it to grow back a little.
You're totally right. Yeah, there's no, if you have to be clean, you do kind of have to.
Yeah, it's not like porn friendly. But I will say, if you're someone who suffers from ingrown hairs, I have the greatest product. This is not an ad, by the way, like in any shape or form.
I shave too.
There's
I want
no code. It's this stuff called 10
Skin.
Yeah.
Duh, girl.
Yes. Amazing.
No, 10 Skin is like a cult favorite.
Life changing.
And it honestly, if you're going to do it, just know that it's a little bit of a burn. It's got alcohol in it. So you kind of
like it though.
I know. So I had this like quarantine bush and I like fully shaved it. It took me like an hour, like back in May. And then, you ever had that experience? You're like, how are we still here? And I was like with my parents and I feel like my dad was like, what is she doing?
He wasn't in the room with her.
Like he was like, it was like after dinner. He's like, Ashley's been in the bathroom for a long time. But I had the 10 Skin to kind of like, just put it on a cotton ball and you just like swipe it over the area. I'm glad you said that. It's such a hot tip.
That stuff is so good. Yeah.
You can get on Amazon.
I'm a shaver too. So I'm so glad you guys told me.
Yeah, it's good for ingrowns.
Life changing.
Oh my God. Some people asked about squirting. I thought we should just address it. Is it real? Can I do it if I've never done it? Do you have anything to say about squirting?
Oh my God. I'm like just as clueless as whoever asked this question. I have squirted.
Okay.
But I'm completely not in control of it. And it doesn't coincide with coming for me. Like it's just like, from my understanding, like the people who know how to there are definitely people who know how to make people squirt. And it's something to do with like curving your fingers a little bit up and like rubbing this like gland that's in there. I don't know what the fuck is coming out. Like for me, it's like I look down and it's just like squirting.
Oh, wow.
It smells like kind of suspiciously like pee, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like peeing, but it definitely doesn't feel like coming to me. And I'm like, are all these people who are squirting and coming at the same time, like, are they lying to me? Like, or am I just not lucky enough to be like one of the few that enjoys that? I really don't know.
Well, if you see like, and of course photos could be like not real, like we've, manipulated whatever, but I feel like sometimes there'll be like some meme or something of like some vibrator that made you squirt and you see this like puddle. And I'm thinking of like, how was that much liquid even being stored in your body? Like it looks like someone peed the bed.
That's the thing.
I'm not saying people are lying, but like where was all that? Like,
and where does it go if you don't squirt?
That's what I'm saying. Where does it go if you don't squirt? Because
it looks like someone just peed the bed.
It does. I come like twice a day. I've been masturbating like crazy lately for some different reasons. Just a lot. I've been really sexually charged lately. I'm not squirting. I'm having amazing orgasms. I come and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Everybody's body's different.
Everybody's body's different.
Because your body, like it's all the same. It's discharge. It's whatever. Like it makes its way out of your body, on a normal day. Like it's,
yeah. Like what are we sweating it out on the days that we don't? Yeah.
I don't know. All the people that don't know how to massage that one gland, that's actually just your sweat coming out of your body.
Yeah.
It's your tears.
Yeah, it's our tears. Do you remember like when you were younger being embarrassed? Maybe not you, but like I remember when I was having sex with my first partner ever, like I was 18. I didn't know. I was embarrassed that like I would have this big wet spot on the bed or something, and you're like, oh my God, like this is embarrassing. And now it's just like, that's what it's supposed to be. Like, do you remember that when that clicked where you were like, this is actually hot. Like this should be like all over the bed. Cause I would just be like, oh my God.
Everything is so embarrassing. Like everything about sex is so embarrassing when you first start. And it's like such a fucking shame that we feel like that.
Right. Cause I was like so wet as a teenager. Well, you have more lubrication when you're younger. It's like you're more fertile, you have whatever. So you lose it as you get older. So like, I feel like I wasted some of those 18, 19, 20-year-old years being like embarrassed when I was just like probably low-key squirting.
Youth is wasted on the young. Okay. I do not look half as hot as I used to look as a kid, like Ashley said, when I was all juiced up.
I know. I should have been like out here bragging and I was like, oh my God, the bed's too wet. You know what I mean? I have a question for you. I have a personal question. You can answer as much as you want. So how long have you been married?
This is my third marriage.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. And this time I've been married for 4 years.
Okay. And you have a kid on the way. I mean, your partner obviously knew what you did before, you know, is it as simple as just like, he knows this is work and that's what it is and it's not an issue?
No, it's like, it's actually like not that simple. So my husband that I'm with now, we've dated a lot, like throughout the years. We've been on again, off again since I was, like I met him when I was 14 years old. And we've dated on again, off again since then. So he knew me like way before I was in porn. But because he knew me for so long, I think he always knew that, like, he definitely always knew that I always wanted to do porn and that, you know, this is like something that I maybe not planned for my future, but wanted for my future for like since way before I ever did it. So when we got back together this time around, I was actually still shooting. I was under contract with a company called Wicked Pictures, and I was still shooting mainstream porn, but I was only shooting once a month. And when we, you know, started hooking up this time around, he was kind of like, hey, like, I don't want to tell you what to do, but if we're going to like move forward and get more serious relationship wise, like, I can't handle being with someone who is fucking other people for a living, which is totally valid. Like, I think a lot of people feel that way. And, you know, like I was at the point in my career where I had been in for, I think 10 years at that point. I was with a company that I was only shooting one movie a month. And for me, like, I wanted to be with him more than I wanted to shoot mainstream porn. So I stopped shooting in the mainstream sense for him, to try out a relationship with him. Okay. So now I shoot like my own stuff. Like I you know, there's so many different ways to do porn now, which was not the case when I first got in. But like now, you know, with platforms like Pornhub, OnlyFans, ManyVids, like you can just produce your own stuff, upload it online and make money that way. So I make like I guess what is called like amateur content now. And that's like mainly what I make. And yeah, so like it wasn't as simple as just like, he knows like that's work and that's different. He was not comfortable with it at all and not like even willing to move forward with the relationship if I didn't.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. I'm sure people wanted to know. Absolutely.
And and like people like ask me all the time if I'm like a jealous person, or I think I'm definitely like less sexually jealous than like the average person, but like, yeah, I'm like super jealous. Are you kidding? Like when my ex like talks, if we're watching a TV show and someone in the show, like a character has the same name as his ex, it ruins my day. Like I'm just like, I'm very jealous. Like it's not, I'm not like at all immune to that, you know? So
you got it when he was like, hey, I don't want you fucking people. And you're like, okay, you know what? I get it.
Like, if we could never hear the name Sarah for the rest of our lives, that would be great.
No, when it comes up, like I'll look over and he's already like, fuck.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
Like, here we go.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you asked that, because I'm sure people were wondering what does it look like to have a relationship in the porn industry. And it sounds like you sort of found like the literal perfect balance of like making money and having a relationship.
Totally. And like before this, I was actually dating someone who was also in the porn industry, and he had been for way longer than I had. I think at the point we started dating, he was like approaching his 20th anniversary in porn. So there's definitely like all different ways to do like the porno relationship. And like, I think everyone, you know, defines like being faithful somewhere different. Like when I was with my ex, like it was totally cool for us to like have sex with other people for work. And we eventually did open up our relationship like toward the end, when we like didn't like each other that much anymore. But like for the first couple years, like we were, I guess, not technically monogamous, but like we didn't have sex with other people outside of work.
Emotionally monogamous.
You know, so there's like all different ways. Yeah, emotionally monogamous. Yeah, in the beginning.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah.
Well, this has been so amazing and eye-opening. I feel like every person's going to shut this down and go, fuck, I'm going to go masturbate. Thank you for being here. Tell people where they can find you. You have a huge Instagram following. I like following you very much. So tell people where they can find you and your work.
Yeah, so I also do a podcast called the Pornhub Podcast, if you guys ever want to come on. My Instagram is at Asa Hole. My Twitter is just at Asa Akira. And you can see my porn at freenudes.org.
Okay. Amazing. I love your Instagram handle because people like friends and in high school and stuff, people would sometimes call me asshole. Like, so it's just it's like it really like.
Did you hate it?
It was like lovingly. Like my best guy friend in high school would call me asshole.
I can't wait, Ashley. I've never told you this. There was this guy in high school. He called me Raina. Like Raina anal. It has plagued me. Someone brought it up the other day when I was in Pittsburgh and told other people. I was out with this guy having drinks, and another person came over and he told that guy my name is Raina, and I will never forgive it. I love
now you just have to get ahead of the story and take control of that. Yeah,
take control of our narrative. I love our new little clique: Ashhole, Raina, and Asshole.
Perfect.
We're taking over the
like
streets.
The butthole triplets.
I love it. Oh my God. You can't sit with us. This has been amazing. I love talking to you so much. Thank you so much for coming on Girls Gotta Eat. On Girls Gotta Eat. I like that. That's
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed. And you know where to find us. girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. We are at Girls Gotta Eat Podcast on Instagram. I'm Ash Hess on Instagram. Raina is Raina.Greenberg. Girls_Gotta Eat on Twitter and YouTube.com/Girls Gotta Eat. Get those tickets to the Florida shows. We can't wait to see you all. And we will see you next week.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye.